I just wanted to start off by saying I think 99% of channels that read Reddit stories are AI, and it's like oversaturated it completely. So I'm going to read some with my real voice, and let's see how it goes. My coworker, 18 male, put me, 22 female, on a Hear Me Out cake and posted it online. I work at a diner as a waitress with this kid. Let's call him John. John has always seemed pretty chill and busses my tables. Sometimes we chat when we're closing together, usually about school, as he started college not too long ago, and I'm almost graduated with my Bachelor of Arts. Ultimately, we are friendly but not friends. Last week, he said that he was a part of a group chat with a handful of other coworkers on Instagram and asked if I wanted to join. I said sure because I haven't connected with people at the diner that well and figured it was worth a shot. We swapped instas. The group chat is very normal, friendly banter between coworkers. Yesterday I see that John posted a reel of him and a couple of his buddies doing their take on a Hear Me Out cake, which is usually a very lighthearted and funny way of saying that you would get with what are typically fictional and mostly animated characters. The entire cake adhered to that concept, except towards the end when my face, a picture that he must have screenshotted from one of my posts, is stuck on the cake. I was the only real person on that cake, and John actually made a comment about how attractive I was, and that he wished that he could hit that, but doubts that he has a chance. I feel insanely grossed out and kind of violated. I want the video to be taken down, but I'm not sure if I have the right or authority to do that. I ranted about this to my sister, and she told me to just take it as a compliment and to be glad that someone thinks I'm pretty. It feels wrong doing that. Is this grounds for taking the issue to the higher-ups? I don't know if I'm comfortable working with him at the moment. Do I just take care of this myself and tell him that it makes me uncomfortable and that I want him to take it down? It is a public video. I'm just uncertain how to move forward. In my opinion, this one's like absolute gooner behavior. I've seen sea turtles with a deeper understanding on social dynamics than this guy. If it were me, I'd try to talk to him personally or send him a text to take it down if you don't want to confront him in person. But I feel like maybe confronting him in person would have a higher chance that something would actually happen and that he'd take it down. As we can see, this guy has obviously never interacted with a woman outside of a Discord server. One of the top comments actually says to just drop the niceties and confront him and tell him it's weird. I thought I'd take some time to introduce myself now. Hey, I'm HudX3 or Hudson. Welcome to my channel. This is my first video, and I just wanted to start with something simple. So, hope you guys enjoy. Let's get on to the next one. My 29 female cousin, also 29 female, has convinced herself that my husband, 33 male, is in love with her. How do we deal with this? My husband James and I got married a little over 2 months ago, and this has been going on since then. We had a pretty small wedding. I have a huge family, but invited less than half of them due to personal reasons. One cousin, Mira, I was unsure about inviting, but she was going through a hard time, and I thought inviting her would help her get her out of her depressive funk. She is recently divorced after her husband of 2 years cheated on her and kicked her out of his home. Oh my goodness. At the wedding, everything was pretty normal and nothing crazy happened. Relevant detail here is that during the wedding reception, my husband and I did a little segment where we dedicated songs to each other, and they were played with an announcement stating that I dedicated one to him and that he dedicated one to me. The song he dedicated to me was Adore You by Harry Styles. We are both Harry Styles fans, and that is my husband's favorite song. Because of the lyric brown skin, lemon over ice, Mira thinks he was secretly dedicating it to her and not me. Her reasoning being that she has darker skin than I do, which is true, but it was not meant for her, and also insane thought process. I just wanted to cut in and say, how could you, like, honestly go to someone's wedding, let alone your cousin, and think that the husband's song that he dedicates to his wife is about you because you have darker skin? That's just crazy. Anyways, sorry, let's continue. Ever since then, she's been telling people that her and my husband are seeing each other behind my back, and bragging about dating him, which she is not doing. My husband only had met Mira once before the wedding, at Thanksgiving 4 years ago, and they didn't even speak to each other apart from saying hi. Mira has been posting poorly photoshopped pictures of herself and my husband, and took photos from the wedding and cropped me out of them, and plastered them on social media bragging about being with my husband. We both asked her to stop. She blocked me and ignored him. My family members are split. The ones who weren't invited are saying that I deserve this, and that this is my karma for not inviting them to the wedding. My cousins all think Mira is crazy, and my aunts and uncles who were invited say that I should just ignore her, since I know she's lying. This is driving me and my husband insane, and yesterday, Friday, she showed up to my husband's job to bring him lunch, and told everyone she was his girlfriend, which led to confusion since most of his coworkers know me, and 3 of them were at the wedding. I literally don't even know what to do at this point. This is so stupid and insane that I'm dumbfounded. I would appreciate some advice. How the hell do I handle this? This is such high-level delusion, I'm honestly impressed. Like, she literally edited the bride out of her own wedding pics and did a full self-insert. absolutely unhinged. If I was in this situation, I'd probably try to seek a restraining order or something of that nature, which is actually mentioned in the comments, especially since the cousin did sort of breach into their lives more than just like the online shit posts. But yet again, it's family, and that makes it awkward, so not much you can do there. Alright, on to the next one. I, 28 female, found a woman's sock in my house after being away for a week, and my boyfriend, 30 male, lied to me about it. I was away for a week for work. He was off work nearly this entire time as he works 1 week on, 1 week off. When I came home, my boyfriend had cleaned up the house quite extensively. Obviously not a crime in itself, but it was surprising and a little out of character. I usually have to do most of the cleaning, so it was unexpected. He'd even picked up some of my laundry that I'd left in the washroom and living room and put it in a basket. I was surprised, but I didn't think much of it. He started night shifts the day after I returned, and I was working days, so I came home from work after he'd left. I figured I'd spend some time cleaning the house too, as he'd done. There's a shop vac that's just been sitting outside of our bedroom door for a few weeks that I finally moved to the closet. When I moved it, I found a sock just behind it, a small ankle sock. Obviously a woman's in a brand that I've never seen before. I had a bad feeling by this point. I put the sock on the table by my bedside and continued cleaning, intending to ask him about it when he returned from work early in the morning. When I asked him whose sock it was, he said that he didn't know. He then said that he found it on the stairs and thought it was mine, so he put it there. But I put the sock there. I doubt he'd even seen it around the house, or else it wouldn't have been behind the shop vac. And if he had seen it and thought it was mine, wouldn't he have put it in the basket with my other clothes that he put away? I told him that I put the sock there and asked him why he lied about putting it there. He said that he didn't have anybody over and that he didn't know whose sock it was. I left and got ready for work, and he went to sleep. Any advice on how to address this? There is two edits to this story, and I haven't read them yet, but from what we've heard so far, I feel like he is most likely hiding something. Especially since he lied about him putting the sock there, which is a pretty dumb thing to lie about. Anyways, let's get on to the first edit. Update. I don't know if I'm allowed to update in less than 48 hours as per community rules, but he woke up. I'm sitting here in my office area doing some work and also periodically crying and reading the comments here. He came into the room and tried cuddling me from behind my chair. I was obviously stiff, and he asked me why I was mad at him. I said that I didn't know why he wasn't honest with me earlier about the sock. He said he didn't lie to me. I said that I put the sock there on the table, so he couldn't have. He said that he'd meant that he found the sock while cleaning and tossed it aside, landing forgotten behind the shop vac. He was super mad, saying that I'm always accusing him of cheating, swearing around saying that he's not coming on a trip to my parents' house during the summer, and that he's staying at the house all summer, and that friend of mine who was supposed to rent the house for work during the summer can't stay there because he'll be there. I asked him why he was getting so mad, and said that I'd been upset, and I just needed an explanation and reassurance from him. He continued to lose it, stormed towards the door and threw his cup full of coffee down the stairs. He grabbed an old baseball bat that we keep by the stairs and started hitting the step outside the door, yelling that he's not fucking cheating. Threw his lunch that he'd packed for work all over the steps and peeled off in his truck. Okay, that's like the end of that first update. That's crazy. Like, I swear, some dudes treat accountability like sunlight to a vampire. Like, he was throwing a little baby rage fit. There's one more update, and I'll read that in a second, but I still can't believe this guy went from babe calm down, it's just a sock, to I'm not cheating, while hitting the staircase like it owes them money. Update 2. We broke up. As a lot of the comments have said too, it wasn't really about the sock anymore. Maybe I won't ever know what happened while I was away, but the violence in his response was frightening, and I don't want to be with someone that makes me feel unsafe in my own home. It wasn't the first time I'd seen him this angry, but it's the first time that he's actually done something so physical, and I don't want to be involved if it continues to escalate. He's been taking some of his stuff out while I've been out of the house, and one of our dogs, which has probably been the most upsetting thing out of all of this. And I've been changing the lock code after each time. I have some friends that live nearby that I've explained the situation to, and they've assured me that I can contact them if I ever end up in an unsafe situation. Thank you everyone that has offered advice, shared their own experiences, or expressed concern for my safety in the comments. There will be a lot of changes in my life upcoming due to this, but I know it's for the best. That story was a lot. I feel like from the start, it was pretty obvious that he was doing something behind her back. Nothing says I'm innocent like absolutely detonating your coffee down the stairs. Truly the behavior of a calm, collected man with nothing to hide. I kind of feel bad for the OP in this one, mainly because she ended up just in a bad situation. She was out for work and this happened, and there's not much you can do there. Although, she did get out of a bad situation really early, which is a really good thing. And I'm glad that everything seems to be going good from here on forward. I just wanted to say sorry for the gameplay. I'm playing Skate and I just keep failing. And I don't think it's that fun to watch, but next time I'll try to get some more cohesive lines going. Anyways, alright, this next one is, am I the asshole for being disgusted and saying it's okay when my fiance broke up with me? I, 28, had been with my fiance, Alex, 34, since 2020. We met at a friend's party, hit it off, and have/had been together ever since. He finished his doctorate in economics just last year. Since then, he has been working at the university. I have my master's in media sciences and decided to start working instead of going for a PhD. Okay, so the problem is that Alex broke up with me last Monday. It was literally so surreal and honestly just weird. For the past few months, he's been acting strange. He was making demands and then dropping them immediately. A few examples. He told me we were going to paint our walls back from dark green to white. When I asked why, he just said, "For fuck's sake, forget it," and never brought it up again, even when I asked. Another time, he came home and got mad because I was sitting on the couch with my head covered in a blanket. I had cramps. He was upset because I was just sitting there watching Netflix. Mind you, the house was spotless. When I tried to talk to him about it, he said, "Forget it, it's not a big deal." This kind of thing became common. Every time I tried to communicate, tried to figure out what was going on, whether it was something I did, or maybe he was just stressed at work, he would just say everything was fine. But he was clearly seething with rage. I didn't even have to do anything. He would just find something to complain about. The apartment, clothes, me, work, etc. So I gave him space, which apparently was also wrong. I told him I was going to help my parents with the repairs for a few days, and somehow that was also wrong because he wanted to renovate the apartment too. Then, on Monday, I got a text saying that we needed to talk. I knew what was coming, and after the last few months, I had peace with it. When I came home, he was sitting on the couch. He didn't even wait for me to take off my jacket before saying, "I want to break up." Then the verbal diarrhea started. He told me he resented me, first because I didn't pursue my academic career further, even though I was capable, and he didn't want to upset me at the time. Then, when I started making more money, since he didn't make much as a PhD student, he felt like I should have the last word financially, and he hated it. Mind you, I'd never said anything like it's my money, so I have the final say. That's a rule he imposed on himself, and he hated it. He said he hated our paint scheme, the couch, and even the crock pot. Then, he told me he'd rejected a better PhD program to stay here, because I had already started my job by the time he got the acceptance letters. Only, he never told me he had even applied overseas. He said a few months ago that he checked in with a friend who's in that program, saw how they were thriving, and decided that I ruined his life. He said I had too much control over his life, and that he hated the idea that I could just decide not to pay for things, and F him over. I honestly don't even know what that means. He also said he hated that all his friends loved me and didn't let him vent about me. Then he said again, "I'm done." I was floored. I'd already made peace with the idea that we were ending, and it hurt, but after that rant, I was just disgusted. I looked at him, probably with a disgusted expression, and said, "Okay." He lost it. He said this is exactly what he meant, that it was horrible. We had been together for 4 years, and that all I had to say was okay to our breakup. I just asked if he wanted to stay here while he figured out where to go. He said, "Typical. Of course you're holding the apartment over me," and then started ranting again, so I just left. I told my parents, and they're also confused. My dad suggested I reach out to our landlord and explain the situation to see what options I have. I can keep paying the rent no problem myself. He covered the utilities and some subscriptions. Just to reiterate, I never had a problem with this. I saw that he was chasing his dream, and that it was more important to me than a 50-50 financial split. I make good money, and I'm happy with my job. I never saw it as slaving away. I always had the mentality that my money was our money because we were building a life together. Of course, I had my own savings and fun money, but I honestly never cared. As long as I felt he was working towards something and wasn't taking advantage of me, I was fine with it. More than fine. Alex is still mad. He's been going between texting me like a robot about the logistics of the split to being a seething asshole, complaining about everything. I'm not even hurt anymore. I just feel nauseated by him at this point. I don't know. Should I have reacted differently? For this story, I feel like the guy just has some problems. Like, he rejected a PhD program, didn't tell her, and then got mad at her for it. And hating the crock pot is so wild. What did the crock pot do? Cook too slowly? Honestly, the breakup was a blessing disguised as a meltdown. You didn't really lose a stable partner. You dodged someone who treats communication like a bomb defusal. I think it's good for the OP in this case. It ended up where you really just dodged a bullet. It would have got worse. He obviously resented you for his own insecurities. There is an edit, so I'll just quickly read that. Thank you all for your opinions. It was really nice getting this off my chest. Just to clarify though, I don't feel like a victim. I feel like something happened and my relationship just turned bad. He behaved like an asshole, but that was the extent of it. Very clearly something is going on, but he doesn't want me to be a part of whatever it is, and I have to respect that. Now I just have to detangle myself legally from him, and after that, I'll be left alone with my ugly green wall color. I think that I might adopt a cat as well, as my ex was really allergic. To the OP, this is a really grounded and emotionally aware take. You're not sugarcoating it, you're not villainizing yourself, you're just accepting that something shifted in him and had nothing to do with you. That's real maturity. And hey, you're getting a cat. That's awesome. You do deserve someone who communicates before exploding, explains before resenting, and doesn't have a personal vendetta against interior paints. You're doing the right thing by moving forward with empathy and boundaries. So, let's get on to the next one. This one's a bit more serious than the last few, so let's get into it. Am I the asshole for losing my shit and screaming at my girlfriend to get out of my house after what her stepbrother did? My girlfriend was over at my place 2 days ago. We're both 20, she has a stepbrother who's 23. Before this, I'd only met him a few times, and he seemed like a regular dude. She asked if it was okay for him to come over for a couple of hours. I said, why not? He said he would get the booze and pizza, and my parents were away visiting relatives for the weekend, so I figured we could shoot the shit. I have a little sister who's 15. They came over, and she stayed up in her room the entire time. We were all a bit tipsy, and my girlfriend's stepbrother asked if he could use the washroom. I pointed him to the one down the hall. My girlfriend and I were preoccupied and didn't even realize how much time he was taking until we heard raised voices upstairs. We immediately went up to check what was going on and found my sister crying. Dude had gone up instead of using the washroom. My sister's door had been left ajar, so he apparently walked into her room. All details I managed to wrangle from my crying sister, by the way. She was taken by shock and was trying to stay calm, but he wasn't leaving. He was trying to chat her up. She told him to get out, and he closed the door behind him instead, which is why she started freaking out. She tried to get past him to open the door, but he grabbed her, but she managed to open it anyway. I had reached the landing by then, so he backed off. Obviously, I was pissed. There was a lot of screaming going on, lots of accusations. We were all drunk except for my sister. After getting the story from her, girlfriend's stepbrother was stuttering and deflecting. I'm pretty sure I threatened violence at some point. My girlfriend was trying to be the mediator. She said I had to calm down and couldn't fly off the handle based off of word of mouth. But I was there. I saw my sister crying in panic, and I know what she's like. I know she wouldn't lie about something like this. Why would she? I told her stepbrother to get out of my house, and my girlfriend kept saying that we could sort this out and have a proper conversation. But I didn't see what conversation there was to have. Eventually, she said that what if my sister's lying in front of my sister's face? I asked her what on earth would make her think that, and she said she's a kid and could be making it all up for attention. Like the title said, I lost it. I told her to get out, and afterwards she kept calling me, but I ignored everything. The dust has settled a bit. I went over everything again with my little sister. She promised me it had happened the way she was telling me. She told me she was scared he was going to essay her. My girlfriend texted me this morning, saying I shouldn't have raised my voice like that, and that I scared her. I thought of apologizing, but she still hadn't said a word about apologizing to my sister or addressing the issue with her stepbrother. I only replied that we had to talk, and she said there's nothing to talk about. There's no hard proof in our words, and the stepbrother ended up doing nothing, so she told me that she would deal with him, and that I should drop it. I don't know if I'm the asshole for the way I handled this. Maybe if cooler heads prevailed, this silent treatment wouldn't have happened, and we could have just discussed everything. I don't know what to do from now on either. I love that girl. I don't want us to be over, so I just want some advice on where to go from here. This one was a lot. I feel like a lot of things could have been done differently, but you guys can totally rekindle it. I don't see why not. In my opinion, the stepbrother being tipsy is not an excuse. Booze might lower inhibitions, but it doesn't install new software. This was already in this man's code. There is an update, so I'm going to read that. First off, thanks everyone who commented on my previous post. I tried to read as many comments as I could. I got some great advice. My girlfriend asked me yesterday if we could talk in person. I agreed, and we met at a public park. She showed up already looking on the verge of tears. She let me speak and was silent for a long time before she said she was sorry for the way she had reacted. She told me she had been drunk and panicked and hadn't been thinking clearly and was trying to stop it from becoming a fight. We discussed her stepbrother. She told me he has a weird streak and acts oddly sometimes. She told me he genuinely could have made a mistake and didn't mean any harm. I asked why he'd gone upstairs in the first place, and why he'd shut himself in with my sister on finding out he was in the wrong room. No answer. I asked how she was so sure he had no perverted intentions. No answer. Some of you suggested that the stepbrother might have a history, and even might have done something to her. I didn't outright say it, but this is what I was implying. I kept saying, what if he had gone further? What if he's assaulted someone before, and you don't know about it, etc.? I asked if there had been any incidents like this before, and how she could possibly downplay what happened. She didn't have anything to say, but again, at this point, she was too choked up to speak properly, so I don't think she could have answered even if she wanted to. Anyways, I wasn't there to listen to excuses or justifications, and I just told her that. She asked me if we were over, and I said the only way we could move forward was if she apologized to my little sister and stopped all contact with her stepbrother. I just don't see a scenario where my sister feels comfortable around him again. She told me she didn't want to lose me, but she couldn't do what I asked from her. So I told her, yes, we're done. My parents came back this morning, by the way. Like I said, they had been out of town at a relative's place. I hadn't told them about this over the phone. I just said an incident had happened, and I would like to talk to them when they got back. My sister asked me to speak to them on her behalf, and I told them everything. My dad gave me a lot of shit, rightfully so. He says he wants to speak to my ex's parents about this, let them know what their son did. Police aren't very useful here, and we're gonna file a report. I highly doubt it'll go anywhere, but at least there'll be a record in the system. My sister's doing better. She was really shaken up. She asked if she could sleep in my parents' room, or mine for a bit. We will probably arrange a therapy or counseling session for her and let her decide if she wants to continue. I'm gonna take her bowling and then we'll get food. Just the two of us, so I can apologize on my part. I feel upset. I feel guilty, actually. I trusted my ex, and me being naive put my little sister in danger. I've always thought I was a responsible person, and this happening when I was supposed to be in charge is messing me up. I'm a bit upset at myself. My favorite comments to read were the ones telling me what to do to the stepbrother. I don't even want to see his face again, but in case I do, someone let me know if you have a wood chipper lying around. Thanks again, everybody. This one's a bit scary. I don't know how you can end up in a different floor after being given proper directions to the washroom. I feel bad for the sister, but I'm glad she has the opportunity to go to therapy and hopefully work that out. It's such a terrible situation. I really do hope the stepbrother faces some legal action as a consequence for what he did. Anyways, that's all the stories I got for today. Thanks for watching. See ya.